you can buy smallers and you can buy all that stuff, which is really important. It's that finishing touch. But what builds it is the contract side of things. And when you build a restaurant, you get the smallers after. And that's what's keeping it rocking.
So that keeps it going. Hey, good afternoon. Welcome.
Hey.
Welcome to CK Design in our little vlog and video studio.
You mean museum?
The Museum of Chris K and CK Design. I don't think you've been in this room with us yet, and obviously you've been along the path with me since my first office.
Correct.
You've worked with me at my other offices that weren't literally mine, but I worked for other firms. So we've come a long way, and this is, I think, a long time overdue.
Yeah, totally, man.
Having a fun little session like this.
This is awesome. And honestly, I'm like looking at these accolades, Chris. Like, wow, you guys have come a long ways, and it's actually quite amazing. I remember like the first time when you were thinking about, hey, should I venture out? We just purchased Hesco, and it was like, I'm sitting outside of a restaurant on the phone, and you're asking questions. I'm like, all I know is this. Dad did it when he was like 65, and we did it together, and I'm like, you need to do it. It's not about who you work for or whatever. It's about the individual and the person and what you've done and what you've accomplished with your team here. Like, great job.
I missed the timing, though. I went out like a month before the crash of 08.
Well.
So it was a lot of stress on my family.
Yeah, but look at you now. Good job.
It was
it's awesome.
Badly timed.
Couldn't be that stressful that Jack Daniels is still full.
Yeah, the single barrel. You and I should just attack that later. There you go.
You know,
I'm excited to have you, man. So Hesco's 100 years, January 2021. The firm, a 100-year-old firm. Tell me, what is Hesco and what does Hesco do?
What is Hesco? Hesco is a multitude of many things, but first and foremost, acronym for Hotel Equipment Supply Company.
I love acronyms.
In a nutshell, we wear many hats, but here's what we do. Hesco, first and foremost, first stage, we design, supply commercial kitchens.
Correct.
So we come in, whether it's the owner, architect, engineer, yourself, whoever, Hesco, here's the footprint, please design us a commercial kitchen. Best part about that is we don't just design restaurants, we do institutional, we do schools, daycares, we've done casinos, we're in the midst of work on the second phase of LNG, massive camp company, that sort of thing.
You got a giant sports bar for us downtown.
Yeah, giant sports bar downtown coming up.
Maybe Canada's largest.
Yeah,
Let's
and
see.
we did hotels like JW
Nice.
Marriott downtown. We do craft, so on and so forth.
Big brands.
Totally. And it's not just coming up with the design of it. It's not just, hey, here's your footprint, here's the equipment. We work with the teams, the engineers, architects, engineers. They can't perform their function without our drawings. So we come in, elevations, full specifications, point of service, mechanical, electrical, how to run pop lines, where to vent, that sort of thing. Followed with the specification booklet. And then we even get to the point where if the project's being tendered, we do a lot, most of our work is design build, but if it's being tendered, it goes through 11400 spec, we write the full spec package.
Okay.
Once that's done, the second phase of our company is supply of smallwares, disposables. So we supply everything from knives and forks, plates, glassware.
Oh, chef's dream. Like you come to your store, you have every knife
custom
you've ever
logo
wanted.
packaging. God, we just did a rollout with a gas station, custom glasses that are disposable, and we love disposables.
Custom forks and knives at Canadian Brewhouse.
Scalpels.
You're well known for those.
Anything you want. Oh yeah.
I love those.
So yeah, we kind of do it all, and that's basically it in a nutshell. And we're a full turnkey. The only thing we can't do when it's a project, we cannot supply the wall, the booze, or the food. Everything else we can do.
And you added stainless too, am I not?
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So we actually have our own.
We don't shop that now. It's yours.
That's correct. So we partnered up with Terry Whittingham, good
Nice.
friend of ours, Corey and I, and we purchased Brocal Stainless, been around, I believe,
Wonderful.
like 30 years, or 40, I think. Home name does everything from building stainless steel tables to dish tailing to exhaust canopies to decorative metals, the whole thing. So there is nothing we can do. And that's what makes it so exciting, because we're in control of the customer's destiny.
And I like the fact that it's Alberta based and you're able to just, supply and install the product so quickly. Edmonton, Calgary, literally across Canada, obviously shippable, but it's not something we gotta wait to bring from overseas.
Nope, and we're totally on it. We have a great team for it. We all work together, whether it's the Hesco Brocal or Brocal and Hesco, but we all work together, and yeah, it's a big family.
You are a celebrity in town. We think you're a celebrity.
Thank you.
You are the, I guess, the leader of hospitality and restaurant kitchen equipment design. In my books, I've done over 1,600 restaurants now. I think we're over 1,000, you and I together.
For sure.
It is crazy how much you know about what you do. Time to write a book.
Yeah,
literally.
A book, yeah.
Yeah, we should get a book from you, and you sign the first copy for me.
Get to chapter 1 and probably we'll end right there, but can't give away all the secrets.
No way. So I'm going to start off with this huge success. 21's been interesting, but for Hesco, it's the 100-year anniversary. Tell me about how that went down and how does it feel to have a 100-year-old brand?
Yeah, super cool. Obviously, wasn't just us. We purchased it in 2006, which was a really exciting times.
Yeah.
Coming from a previous employer and then purchasing a company with my family, with my mom and my dad, and then where we've come, and I consider it a really short duration here in bringing on a new partner, a best friend, Corey Wagner, who's now with Dad getting older, moving aside. Corey's taking the reins, and where we're going in the trajectory, and it's super exciting. Wasn't for COVID, we'd be further ahead. Mm-hmm. But then COVID's actually helped us out in many ways too. It's allowed us to relaunch other brands, allowed us to purchase another company, Brocal Stainless, launched the disposable side of our business, which I'm sure we'll get into. But yeah, it's opened our eyes to a lot of things, and yeah, it's been a journey. I'm really passionate, like you are, super passionate about what we do.
Yeah, I love it. What you do.
I love building the brand, working with our staff. And it's all about staff. It's not about one individual, and I think you'll agree with that.
And you've had more success at that than me. So I think your team also carries that passion you have. So regardless who picks up the phone, I find it amazing that every time I meet somebody from Hesco, it's like meeting mini yous, right?
Yeah.
They love your brand and they love what they do.
Unless it's our sales manager, Mini Tank. But yeah, call it Mini Me's. I don't know
Tank
about that.
will watch this video and think of us. That's right.
It'll be awesome. But you know what? It's not about Mini Me's or that. It's about, hey, let's get people with the common interest, the common goal, and a real thriving interest for the industry. You can't, for the design side, and we have other aspects to our business as you guys do. You can't go to school to become a kitchen designer. You got to learn it in-house. You gotta. And it's a painstaking thing, to learn it, because it's so different. You can't just go to school or open up a textbook and it's here. Every situation's different. How many? You could do Origin of India. You could do MKT. You could do CBH. You could do Century Hospitality. They're all different. They're all unique, and they're all different people you're working with. So you have to adapt, turn, learn, and it's pretty exciting.
And you learn so much from these people. And you've learned from the one-offs.
Yep.
And you've also learned from the chains like the Brewhouse and other the cross-Canada projects. And what is the difference to you, or there's no difference in the way you treat the one-offs and the multi-location?
No, not at all.
Multi-unit.
No, because who knows what it'll end up being.
I see.
And at the end of the day, even if it's a multi-unit or whatever, you're still dealing with individuals. Yeah. And one of the most exciting things we deal with certain chains, call it the chop leaf or whatever. We deal with corporate office, but then they hand it over to the franchisee.
Nice.
Franchisees are super good people. Liesel, who owns Chop Leaf in Edmonton, they put all their stuff into their eggs into one basket to build these restaurants, and we need to make sure we're looking after them like we're doing the CBH or different groups like Craft or whatever. It's super important. It's like you're in the midst of building your house right now, and we built ours, and it was you could do the best possible job ever. You could be the best guy. But if you have one leaky faucet, you better fix that leaky faucet, or it could be.
So technically, then, what I'm hearing you're saying is, although you have hundreds of one-of restaurants, you almost treat your chains like a one-of, because you get to meet the operator, the franchisee, the Z's as we call them, we're the Zors. So the Z is actually treated by your brand as a one-of. hands-on kind of approach.
100%. And in our feeling and our culture at Hesco, what's really important to us is this. I've always said it's super easy to get a client,
Yeah.
but it's very hard to keep a client. Go back to the leaky faucet. So we approach everybody as like, this is a brand new opportunity, full hands on deck. And that's something that we do unique at Hesco too, on the design side as well as the outside, is we work as a group. It's not about, hey, you're dealing with this or that. It's like group effort. We have weekly meetings. Now that we purchased Brocal Stainless, we have a lot more control on the stainless aspect, the install aspect. So we have a lot more hands, a lot more professionals, a lot more people involved to ensure that it goes 100%.
Yeah, and congrats on the Brocal. And
Yeah.
then during COVID, the past 18, 24 months, we have you obviously relaunching Brocal brand under your ownership.
Yep.
Did we move you before COVID or just at the same time? Because you also have a new head office.
Yeah, so this is...
What's the timing like? I
Well,
think you moved just before, no?
milliseconds. So COVID hits, the whole city's like, or the country, whatever,
Yeah.
Alberta. Yeah, COVID's coming. We're hearing shutdowns. Hesco moved on a Friday.
What month was it? It was pre-March.
Oh man, no, it
Or
was
no?
so, I forget, it was, no, I think it was March, and Corey's
So
gonna
you're a March guy. Oh my
Wagner's
God, that
gonna
is
get mad at me because
super
like,
tight to COVID.
this is a stressful time, and it was like, we moved Friday, on Monday, they shut all restaurants down.
Oh,
So
you
we were
March then, for
shut,
sure.
and it was like, get whatever we can in this building, and we'll figure it out
Yeah.
tomorrow. So it was crazy, but you know what? Everybody, it was like, okay, we're gonna take this gradually, and it was like all hands on deck. We had trucks going back and forth. We had sales staff putting product into the back of their cars. It was like, we gotta get, like, we're shipping $2.5 million worth of product
Wow.
into a new building, plus everything else, and it was like, holy moly.
And so COVID, obviously you didn't move because of COVID, but you kind of coincided as the trigger of March. We saw the Oilers shut down, restaurants shut down for the first 2-3 months. It's pretty rough in Edmonton. But so you moved during the beginning of that.
Yep.
But I noticed that during that time, the pivot was into disposables and packaging, and also cleaning supplies.
Yep.
Tell me how that's gone, where it is today, and obviously I have the product here in my office.
Yeah.
So how, like, that's an amazing pivot. Tell us about it.
So what happened with COVID was we moved into the building because we purely our company's growing. We moved out of it. We needed a new
So from Sunday Hill
building.
Trail, so our watchers know,
to Southside.
to Southside,
Right by Amazon.
by the soccer dome where I am
man.
every night. Yeah, close to Amazon, that's right.
So yeah, we had to move. Purely ran out of room.
Yeah.
COVID hits, boom, and there's been a real emphasis from Corey, our president, on disposables, packaging. You're thinking about everybody that goes to a restaurant, and it's like, who are our competitors? Why aren't we doing it? We have the Rolodex, and it's either they buy it through the food company or they don't.
Yeah.
And we're like, we're gonna launch this. So fast forward, COVID hits, we're sitting there, and restaurants aren't buying any china, no glassware, nothing, and we're like, okay, this is the time. So we had a young lady who is a sales rep for another company called Julie Stark.
Okay.
Ended up meeting with her. She came on board, knows everything about packaging, been doing it a long time. She joins us. We've taken a small part of our revenue, which was maybe $25,000 a quarter. We're doing $150,000 a month, and it's growing. And it's
That's
about
amazing.
having her come on board. We're dealing with, it's unique. Like, who would have thought we would sell like 50,000 cases of coffee cups to a gas station?
Yeah, who'd have thought it?
We would never have called on that. So what it's done is it's taken our outside sales guys, give them another thing to work with clients who aren't buying this, and having a professional behind it. Fast forward to today, now we're going, we need more space.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you, so that
Yeah.
sounds like boxes and boxes of product.
It's crazy.
Where are you going to put this stuff? You can't put it on the roof.
No, you can't.
So what do you do?
Thankfully, it's late.
Yes, it is.
Yes, hence I guarantee you in probably
Stack
another
high?
year, stack high, we have 20-foot ceilings and we're running out of space.
You are. Shipping containers in the back?
It's-
40? Like, what do you
Well,
do?
it's shipping containers. Yeah, well, the problem is
Offsite.
now with everything with COVID, we're trying to get ahead of the trends,
Yeah.
supply and demand. So we're purchasing our own containers from China 8 months out when we can get them. And we just had a container shelving show up. So we're running out of space, but it's like having money in the bank. If you don't have the product in your building, you're hooped.
That's an amazing pivot. And it kind of ties, because our clients, your clients, my clients, I've all pivoted during COVID to, I mean, we have our QSR clients that had takeout and drive-throughs, whatever, but a lot of our non-fast food and QSR clients have pivoted to takeout and home meal replacement and skip the dishes, any of the, the last mile kind of delivery services. It's an interesting pivot for them and an interesting pivot for you, because instead of you just providing them with a stove to make that home meal replacement, now you're providing the packaging. So it's actually funny how it lines up really well.
It's crazy. And we're doing with clients like the Nut Man, their packaging and all that. We're doing...
Not just restaurants then?
No.
Oh, wow.
It's actually, it's crazy.
Good
like gas stations, that sort of thing. And it's really opened our eyes going, you know what? We now need to invest in more people to get our brand out there more. And then where do we take this brand? We're located in Edmonton, Calgary. We're doing projects, and we just finished one in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, just finished one in Victoria. We're working on
coast
Barrie.
to coast to coast.
Yeah.
Wow.
We have teams in Barrie, Oshawa right now, as well as Calgary, and it's like, where do we go from this? And it's about, now how do we hire the right people to bring them in and to grow this? And that's the big emphasis now.
And before we get to that runway of where the brand's going, where did it start for you? I know Larry was in the business.
Yep.
And then how did you follow those great footsteps?
Well,
what triggered you to go that way?
Long and short, Dad was a shareholder and ran the Edmonton branch of Russell Food Equipment when it was just Russell.
Yeah.
So me, not knowing what I wanted to do, decided to do 4 years of volleyball at Nate. What program do you take? So what are you interested in? And I loved the industry from day one. Really liked the contract side. Took engineering, drafting, design. Did that, and then joined Russell Food Equipment. And how this whole thing spearheaded was, after 5 years, was successful, growing, designing, learning. Mr. Russell and Mr. Randy Speck wanted me to transfer to Ontario to get more developed.
Really?
Yep, to get more developed. They wanted to locate me in London, Ontario.
Under Russell Foods?
Yep, to be a branch manager, then transfer to Toronto. At that time, we were kind of going, why are we doing it for them? Why aren't we doing it for ourselves? And Mr. Miller, Hotel Equipment and Supply, came to Dad and said, why are you doing it for them?
So he also pushed.
Yeah,
I like
he's
that
like,
story.
and Larry's like, you know what? Kind of sees the trends of what's happening. We have an up and comer here, and he's like, he basically said, okay, we're gonna do this. Now, Adam, go to the bank. You get 50% of the money. I have 50% of the money, and then we'll make this deal. So it just happened. I owned a small condo that had equity in it, and
boom.
Honestly, that's exactly how it happened. And we just been off to the races, and we
never look back.
It's crazy. And you know what? I get my parents, my dad. There was times where Mom and I were sitting outside going, "We're not doing this," and Dad's like, "I'm doing it with or without you." I see where this is going, with or without you. And it was like, yeah, okay, we're gonna do it as a family. And talk about stressful times too, like brand new company, trying to get it
back in 06.
Yeah, and it's exciting.
Plus today, right? Oh my
God. And then Dad's no spring chicken too. So what he's done for our family, and like he had a comfortable job and had a really good life, and now it's rocking and rolling.
So that's going on 15 years then.
Yeah.
15 years sleepless nights, or only a few?
Well, the first few it was crazy. Just like when we started.
I remember your first office. It was so fun downtown.
Oh yeah.
Old building.
Lots
of history.
Those are stories we will not share.
Then we moved you to St. Albert Trail, and then
St. Albert Trail was good. And then again, funniest.
Outgrew that, right?
St. Albert Trail is a beauty because outgrown the space downtown, didn't like the area. Dad's driving home, and this building on St. Albert Trail is for sale, and then had a sold sign forever. So like one day he's driving downtown, we needed a plan, and it was like all of a sudden that sales sign's off, sold is gone. Dad called in, like we bought it sight unseen.
Come on.
Yeah, like
perfect
seriously.
Location.
Yeah,
great
and it
access.
turned out. Only funny part is like sight unseen. Talked to realtor. There's a tenant in there, and they said, "Oh no, like they're in jeopardize their covenants or whatever it is, and we'll get rid of them and all that." Oh yeah, that came down to the 11th hour too. So add to the stress pile.
Wow.
So there could be at least 2 or 3 chapters in this book.
That is awesome, man. You should put a chapter on the real estate and the bounce around. Of course, the Calgary story that we know. But that's all great stories because everybody has a story, even on their space. Much like restaurants have a story on their first, second, third location.
And I'm a massive fan of entrepreneurs, and I love hearing these stories. Like, you read the Nike book and things like that. It's actually pretty crazy.
Oh, Shoe Dog is one of my favorites still.
And actually, funny enough, we just got back from a trip. We had to fly into Oregon to get our COVID test, and private plane lands.
Yeah.
And is it Phil Knight?
That's right, Phil.
Walks right past us.
Come on.
Yeah. And wasn't even wearing Nike shoes. Can you believe it?
I don't want to know what he's wearing. Hopefully he was barefoot if he wasn't in Nikes.
Oh, man.
That is crazy. What did Hesco and what did Adam, what did Corey, what did you guys do as a family to not just pivot? I know we talked earlier about the product, but what else did you do to pivot or survive the kitchen design, kitchen equipment supply slowdown?
So, it's really unique. So, we're not just restaurants. We do schools. We do, like, industrial projects.
So the camps, right?
Yeah. So, when all this COVID hit, day-to-day stuff, came to a halt, snow shocker. We get it. We're selling a few disposables.
Yeah.
A big part of the success of Hesco is the contract team. So, what do we have? 5 designers in Calgary, 2 in Edmonton, and we're swamped. So as COVID's still hitting, chains are still building, and it's not just restaurants. We specialize in what we're working with is a great partnership with Berg Construction. We're doing that LNG project.
You are?
Yeah, so we're the lead designer.
That's out in Kidman.
Yeah, it's crazy. So COVID hits right before COVID in January. We just did a $3.5 million kitchen there. So we're dealing with that. And then they have us starting the second phase. It's like a $2 million kitchen.
Good.
But we're doing that. But also with other architectural firms that I know you partnered up with, like BR2, we're doing schools, we're doing a ton of stuff.
So not just hospitality. So maybe that stuff helped you weather the storm maybe.
Well, 1,000%.
Or else no choice. Right?
Kept the lights on. We're still designing, we're still installing. Restaurants know that, hey, listen, things are slowing down now, but we're still in the process of, we got to get these drawings done, we got to get this stuff done, we're invoicing, we're selling design fees, and it kept the lights on. And that's kind of even in the past when Hesco started, that was the biggest thing. We're only as successful, outside sales and all this, it's a residual thing, it's super important to us. The contract stuff it's what governs, and this is how we build the brand. So you can buy smallers and you can buy all that stuff, which is really important. It's that finishing touch, but what builds it is the contract side of things. And when you build a restaurant, you get the smallers after, and that's what's keeping it rocking.
So that keeps it going. And then tell me about your Calgary operation. You said there's 5 there, led by Brian.
Yeah, Brian Connell's our partner.
How far back do you go with Brian?
Oh man, Connell and I
He's different from Corey, right? You guys have
totally
another background.
Yeah. So
Corey.
Brian and I go back to we're probably about.
He was in Edmonton.
Yeah,
I met him here.
I was probably about, I don't know, I was 12, he was 8.
Seriously?
So his dad...
So you're older than him.
Yeah, so his dad, Neil, was the head pro and ran a pro shop at Sturgeon Valley Golf Course. We all went there, and it goes back a long way. So, and this is really funny. So, long story short, Connell... we haven't touched base for a long time. He became very, at Russell Foodservice, was a really exceptional designer, did a really good job.
That's where I met him.
And we're in the midst of hey, Hesco needs to get people. How do we get people? Long story short, we're after the same project. We lost it at Hesco. He won it, and I said, this is never happening again. And I picked up the phone, I'm looking at that camera, and I said, Connell, we're going for a beer. And then he ended up joining us. So really blessed to have him. Huge.
We love Brian.
And ever since then, our contract team in Calgary, we're doing some really unique stuff. BAMP Collective Group, we're doing a ton of stuff for them.
Great group, right? You got Craft out there?
Craft, we just got a new one yesterday. We're doing Craft Victoria. And Russ G, who's joined us, he's doing a bunch of care facilities all around.
Perfect. He's been a great addition to your team. And technically runs the Calgary operation.
He's 100% runs it.
Wow.
He's a partner of ours for Corey, myself, and Dad. And yeah, we've been really blessed to have him.
I like Brian a lot.
He's a good guy.
And I've worked with Brian even in non-Calgary projects. So, and my team has touched projects with him. So he's been a huge help.
Yeah, he's definitely a pillar. He knows his product.
And he carries your culture, your family culture. I think it's he doesn't skip a beat. Going from your file So if the file's
Yeah.
under you, it doesn't skip to go to Brian. It's not like
No.
we've been passed down. It's
No,
so level.
super passionate, extremely dedicated, and
Yeah.
to him and his wife Tara, who relocated X years ago there to help us grow this.
Because they moved from Edmonton to go
It's
there.
it's
Wow.
a big thing.
Big
yeah.
ask.
Yeah.
He's done well. Congrats on that.
Continuing.
Your unique perspective is interesting, and I want our viewers to get it from you. What does the future hold for the kitchen equipment design, supply and design industry? What can we learn from your insight? What can you share with us? What are the where do you see this going?
So, first and foremost, like, your passion is kitchens and restaurants and all
Yeah.
that. So, do we ever see kitchens and restaurants going away? No. Everybody likes to eat out. If they have $2, like, everybody eats out. It's what's unique about our industry. It will never dissipate.
Okay.
People like to go out. Where I truly believe things are going is, is it the McDonald's way where you walk up and it's QR code and you punch it in and you limit
So less
the
service staff.
I don't know if it is. I think it's limited. I think in a little bit, but I think people are getting smarter. What people need to realize too is North America is 15 years behind Europe.
Yeah.
Europe's technology is coming here now. Combi ovens are here, that whole thing. That's old news.
You see that all in your equipment.
Totally. What's coming next to simplify it? And I think now, like, with COVID and all this stuff happening, it's like finding staff right now is almost impossible. Especially with,
Labor shortage can be tough.
and it's nuts. And how are we getting good staff? Or loyal staff? You can get great staff, but then somebody offers them $1 more an hour, they're going to leave. How do we keep them? Well, if we can design a back of the house, something super cool, something that, you know what, they feel comfortable in, it's designed properly, and that's what we take a lot of thought into. Yes, we're limited to our space, but if we can give them the care and what they're looking for, they'll be able to recruit staff
More
and
technology,
keep them.
more automation in the cook. Like there's a cooking holds. There's
Yeah, like
products that help the staff
I don't
make
think
better food, or no?
No, I think that's not automation. Yes, there is. Like, if I can put a Alto Sham in there, and this is old technology, but you can put a roast in there for 12 hours and pull it out, and it's the same.
Okay.
Well, I don't need someone hanging out around the oven top, waiting, opening the door like you're at home and it's Christmas.
Okay.
And it's like, it beeps, and if you don't get there in an hour, it's still the same.
Yeah.
And
So that's tech.
a little, yeah, but the tech on our side, because it still flows down, like, yes, there's some unique pieces out there, but I haven't seen anything that'll blow your socks off personally.
Wow.
But you know what? But there are certain things in energy saving, things that we wouldn't see, but you don't have like, on the Jetsons, the robot coming through and
Nothing
cooking
yet.
for, not yet.
No robot
No.
scullery yet.
No.
Is there in the media for those watching that are
Yep.
Edmontonians? We have a lot of pressure on what I see as being the opening date for some of these restaurants. We're having restaurants struggling to get open in time due to issues with their exhaust system. Any change that you're seeing with regard to exhaust? Any higher technologies
No.
eliminating the need for exhaust?
Well, you have to have exhaust for sure. The problem is the need, and it comes down to like finding the proper company. I mean, not the company, but the Hescos of the world. Are we ordering our kit? What is your opening date? Are we being realistic? The supply chain right now to buy a walk-in cooler,
Yeah.
it's like a 15-week
Wow.
build. So you need to make sure
So that's a
your
supply chain issue.
for sure.
Wow.
And it's the design. So if we're waiting till the last minute to get the stuff on order, you're hooped, which seems to be a trend. If you come to, we're really on top of certain things, and this is something I'm actually take massive pride into it, and it's like, hey, listen, we have to get this on
You're on
order.
top of that.
Here is why. We have a lot of people. We have a support cast at Hesco. Caitlin, who does everything behind the scenes with all the factories and ensure that, like, case in point, we deal with a large chain in Canada right now. We've pre-ordered 7 restaurants for them because the build time on refrigeration, cooking equipment, all that. So we have these partnerships with the factories that are like, okay, Adam, like, what is the plan here? We need to pre-order these certain things because it's going to be a supply chain.
And you want to get in that loop to avoid
gotta
delay
get-
to your clients.
For sure. And be ahead of it. And to this day, we've been like really good. We have a huge team. Tyler Sanuga, who's our sales manager, works really closely with the chains, with purchasing, with our other. It's the same thing. Supply. daily purchasing meetings, and trust me, we do not like to have meetings for the sake of meetings. But we sit down, and it's not a conference around a boardroom table. It's a pop-up meeting. I'm all about standing. It's 15 minutes.
Wonderful.
We're out. But like, let's deal with this and let's tackle it and let's get ahead of it. We have marching orders and people
Get
following it up.
ahead. I think that's the trick, is being ahead of that curve and making sure clients don't pay the price.
It
on
used
the
to
delays.
be we seal deals and crush beers. Now it's like we need to stay ahead. There's no time to crush beers.
Oh man,
So-
beers at our clients for sure. That's right. You need a good pint once a week. I think where I want to, I guess, leave this discussion is the next 10 years. We talked a lot about where Hesco came from, literally 1921, so it's a 100-year company. Maybe you can explain to me your next 10 years, that runway, what the BHAG looks like. Are we opening more locations across Canada? Are we going in America? Any other pivots in your pocket?
Yeah. No.
What does Hesco look like 10 years from now?
You know what? The canvas is like, there's a bunch of markings on it. Like Rory always says, we have the best lunch meetings and we take notebooks now. We write 1 million notes. We are not in the business of just maintaining. If we're not, and my dad said this from day one, if we're not growing, we're not going to attract people. It's super simple. I'm 44. I'm not going anywhere. I enjoy the industry.
10 years,
I'll work.
54.
No,
Wow.
I'll be doing this for a long time.
Another 15 years.
Well, more than that, trust me. My wife has a spending habit. No, all joking aside, and honestly, we couldn't be doing this without the support of my wife and everybody. It's been awesome. They're
girls.
the most accommodating people you'll ever meet, and trust me, I am a pain
you're
in
working.
the ass.
You work long hours, so I
But-
can imagine.
But I will say this: what is the plan? The plan is not to be stagnant. We have a bunch of irons in the fire. We're actually in the midst of actually talking to an internet company.
Nice.
Corey's background.
Yeah.
And it's about, we want to build branches and build our volume. Now, here's the catch-22. Do we need to set up full Hescos? Full, I don't know. That's something
Like
we're
front
trying.
of house, back house, warehouse,
Or do
blah,
we
blah,
just,
showrooms.
like, if we're going to do Saskatchewan, or do we just need somewhere to hang a hat so that we can provide a service, have a team, and are we going to take the Amazon way shipping out of warehouse? We have 2 massive warehouses
Like
right
drop
now.
shipping that.
Yeah, and it's like, it's nothing different. We're talking about right now with Edmonton and Calgary, do we need to have Libby in both? Do we need to have Canberra in both? Or do we just ship
Back and forth.
back and
you
forth to
can drop ship
various? And we can do all of that. We have a full online system. We're in the midst of updating our website. We're doing a ton of stuff.
Web has helped your I noticed that because you're selling a lot of pieces of different things and different suppliers, have your clients adapted to web purchasing yet, or do they still want to come to the showroom and touch the fork, touch the glass, touch the fryer?
We get a lot of both. So
You do, eh?
what it is about is this. We have online ordering systems set up, and they're individual. We're soon to have one for the public, but it's specialized stuff for each chain because they want to have the protection. We don't want to open it up so a chain allows a franchisee just to do what they want. We're here to protect that chain and ensure that their brand is upheld too. Now, do we get customers? Yes, we get a ton of walk-ins. People do want to come in. We have in Edmonton, we have a full test kitchen. We have a full restaurant basically in the building.
Basically, that's right.
Yeah, we
That's
have
great.
three booth seatings. We just had
Plus the mezzanine.
the Earl's chain just came in and did a commercial. We have Paul Schufeld comes in to do menu tasting, and we encourage the people we work with and our support cast, come in and use it. We'll bring in, if there's something unique, like Canadian Brewhouse wanted to test out a new piece of equipment. We had a piece of equipment brought in. They spent 2 days in there doing it, what they wanted to do. We are so happy to do that. A, brings energy to the building. B, it's providing a service, and I think it just works. Every month we do a lunch for the staff. We have
In the kitchen, right?
in the kitchen. We actually have
Are you the chef?
No. We actually have. We'll reach out to clients.
I see.
Hey, come and cook, perform, showcase your stuff, and it's just been a massive success. It's been a lot of fun.
So that ties into that 10-year runway. You see yourself growing your team, growing possibly in a footprint across Canada, and using technology maybe, not just putting up big warehouses across Canada, to expand your footprint as you see other ways of networking and delivering the product to each restaurant.
Definitely. And you know what we're doing? We're working with various chains. We're in Ontario a ton. We're in Victoria, BC a ton. If we don't start putting our own footprint in these, then how do we grow? We need to grow on the foottails and offer the service we've provided and ensuring we're doing a great job, but how do we become better? If we're not becoming better, we're not going to grow.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
I appreciate your time, man, and thanks for coming in.
Always, my friend.
That was wonderful.
Thanks,
Thank you.
buddy. Cheers.
Thanks, everyone.